Hello viewers, myself is Dr. Neeta and you are watching my channel Learn Literature with Dr. Neeta. So let us begin today's topic.
So hello dear students, today we will learn about psychoanalysis, and in this video I have given just an overview of psychoanalysis. As all of you know that psychoanalysis is the part of the clinical psychology, and this theory has become so famous that it has made its own impact even in the field of literature. So first it would be very good on your part if you just understand what is psychoanalysis, who evolved this theory, why this theory was evolved, and what are its basic tenets. Later in the next video we would learn the different psychoanalyst or the theorist related to this psychoanalysis, the process of psychoanalysis. So why as a student of literature we are studying psychoanalysis? Because psychoanalysis makes the study of literature full of meaning, full of depth, and how it makes literature full of meaning and depth, that I have mentioned in the later part of this video. So now let us begin. First we will have to understand what is psychoanalysis. So see the picture here. Psychoanalysis is like unzipping our brain. So how and why we are going to do it, this we would understand. Psychoanalysis is the branch of psychology, as I told you, clinical psychology. It is related to clinical psychology that offers a set of theories. So in psychoanalysis we study two things. One, there is a set of theories for understanding the complexities of human behavior, emotion and relationship. And second thing, what we study in psychoanalysis is the therapeutic technique to deal with the unconscious mind of a person suffering from the mental disorder. This psychoanalysis uses two things. One is the set of theory to understand the thing. Another is the therapeutic techniques to get rid of those undesirable things which are the part of our life. So as far as literature is concerned, we are not going to use these therapeutic techniques, but in it we would understand merely the theories of psychoanalysis. The term psychoanalysis was coined by Sigmund Freud, and later in 19th and early 20th century he developed this technique when he was working with physician and physiologist Joseph Breuer. So he was working with his patients. So this theory which came into existence was the outcome of his practice, his theoretical knowledge and his practical knowledge. Both are included in this theory. The theory emerged from his clinical observations and theoretical insight with patients suffering from neurotic symptoms, especially hysteria. So once Freud was just dealing with his patients who were suffering from hysteria. As all of you know that hysteria was a kind of disease, and before 20th century people used to think hysteria not a disease, rather it was considered that some ghost or spirit is there on that person and that is why he or she is behaving like that. But Freud has tried to find out or he found out, rather should I say, that this kind of uncommon behavior is not under the influence of some spirit or a ghost or some witch. Rather this is due to some uncommon thing that existed in the unconscious of that person. So Freud thought that the unconscious mind is responsible for this kind of abnormal behavior of the people. So he began to explore the role of unconscious processes in human behavior. So now this is the structural model of the mind which has been given by Sigmund Freud. And he divided the human psyche into three parts here. This is id, ego and superego, and each with its distinct function. So according to Sigmund Freud, human psyche can be divided in three parts. This are ego and superego, and he gave this iceberg model. And see, in this iceberg model, the conscious mind is merely the part of our mind which remains exposed to the people or to ourselves. So we consciously behave in a particular manner, but according to Freud, a number of things remain embedded in our unconscious mind. According to his theory of psychoanalysis, the things which are going in our unconscious mind, conflicts which are rising in this part of our brain, are responsible for the abnormal behavior of a human being. So Freud proposed that psychological developments involve the interplay and conflict between these three psychic structures, with ego serving as a mediator and regulator of the internal conflicts. So he says that this ego, the ego part, serves as a mediator and regulator of the internal conflicts. So here I think you would not be able to understand the basic function of id, ego and superego. When I am going to make a video on Freud especially, then we would discuss those functions. But for now, you should understand that the mind is in these two parts. The conscious part is the less visible, conscious part is the visible part, while it is smaller in size, while the unconscious remains hidden. It is not exposed even to the person to which it belongs, and a number of things remain embedded in it. And because of those things, because of those conflicts or those things which are embedded in it, the abnormal behavior of human being is possible. So now the question arises, what remains embedded in the unconscious mind which is affecting the human behavior? Now the role of unconscious. Freud believed that the unconscious mind plays a central or the vital role in shaping human thoughts, emotions, motivations, behavior and personality. According to Freud, the unconscious mind of a man, of a person, is responsible for shaping not only his thoughts, emotions, motivation, behavior, rather his whole of the personality gets shaped by the unconscious mind. So unconscious mind, according to Freud, is quite significant. He felt the need of exploring and understanding its content, as it is essential for psychological well-being and personal growth. So Freud thought that it would be a good idea to explore and understand the workings of the unconscious. He believed that humans are primarily pleasure-seeking creatures dominated by sexual and aggressive impulses. That is quite a significant thing. According to him, human beings are primarily pleasure-seeking. We want pleasure. It is our instinct that we are pleasure-seeking. And our impulses, the dominant impulses in us, are sexual and aggressive. So this is what he said, and this thing has made an impact on our unconscious. How? This we would see in the next slide. Now here the question arises, what often remains stored in unconscious? So I have tried to make a list of it. So what is there in everyone's unconscious? These are the repressed memories, the memories that have been repressed, the traumatic and emotionally charged memories that are too distressing to be continuously recalled. So they are pushed into the unconscious. So as I told you that our mind works at two levels. One is the conscious, another is the unconscious. So if we are having some traumatic or emotionally charged memories, which we even do not want to recall in our conscious, so they are not erased from our mind. According to Freud, these memories just are pushed back into the unconscious. So such kind of memories continuously get stored into our unconscious mind. Apart from that, certain primitive urges, as I told you, basically we are having aggressive tendencies and sexual desires. But in a socially civilized society, these two things, sexual desires and aggressive tendencies, are not allowed to exposed. They are considered to be something bad. They are not considered to be socially acceptable. But as we are dominated by sexual desires and aggressive tendencies, they automatically come to our conscious level, but we cannot express them. That is why they are also pushed back and they get stored into unconscious. Yet another thing is our childhood experiences. According to Freud, the childhood experiences make a lasting impact on the personality of human beings. If a child has seen something, or he has experienced something traumatic, or he has witnessed the quarrel, the fight of his parents, or someone has done something wrong with that child, even if he has grown up and the things are normalized now, still the memories of those childhood experience remain embedded into his subconscious, and they may affect his personality in the later run of his life. Now, defense mechanism. These are the unconscious psychological strategies which we usually use to protect our anxiety, distress, repression, denial, projection and rationalization. For example, I would make you learn it with the help of the example. For example, you are aspiring for the good results, but somehow or other your results are not good. You have not got the marks up to the expectation of your parents and up to your own expectation. Then all of a sudden, what would you say to your parents? That the paper was difficult. One option should be that. Or the examiner was not lenient in giving marks. He has done the hard marking. Third, the teacher has not told the things to us which were asked in the examination. So what you are doing in this way? You are using a defense mechanism to protect your anxiety. If you are saying like that I am responsible for that, then your mind would be full of anxiety and distress. So, or there may be a fear that if you are accepting that it is because of you, your parents may rebuke you. So you use this thing as a defense mechanism. Why you used? Because there were certain memories in your mind of your past that depicted that you cannot take this responsibility because of certain anxiety or distress, or someone has rebuked previously. So you use it as a defense mechanism. So such kind of ideas also remain embedded in our unconscious. Apart from that, the core beliefs and assumptions, the generation to generation, certain beliefs are there which are with us from one generation to another. So they are also deeply ingrained and they also remain in our unconscious, and they shape our actions and perceptions. Now, what the psychoanalysts do, and when we are need in a psychoanalysis. If we observe the symptoms like that, like anxiety, depression, neurotic symptoms, such like phobias are there, the compulsive behaviors and hysteria, etc., such kind of neurotic systems, if we observe in someone, or disruption in daily functioning and relationships are not going well, then definitely there is the need of a psychoanalysis. These symptoms which are expressed through our personality, through our body rather should I say, or we are feeling anxiety or depression, or we are making certain actions which are not normal in any condition, then definitely there is the need of if someone is throwing the utensils or just catching his hairs like that, such kind of symptoms are indicative of the fact that something is wrong with his or her unconscious. So at this time we need a psychoanalyst so that psychoanalysis may be performed. They suggest, these such kind of behavior suggest that there are certain underlying conflicts at the subconscious on unconscious level, or the unresolved issues, and that are persistently distracting and disturbing the person, as a result of which he is behaving in an abnormal manner. Psychoanalysis uses these three techniques. One is the free association of idea, another is the dream analysis, and the third one is the interpretation of the unconscious processes, and with the help of it the causes are tried to find out, and certain therapeutic strategies are proposed, and the person ultimately becomes normal. Now, Freud as a psychoanalyst, so as I told you, he was working with his patient suffering from hysteria, and when he was doing therapy with his patient, he used to use the method of hypnosis. He has to hypnotize the patient so that he may understand what is going on in his unconscious. But later he shifted from this use of hypnosis and he began to use the methods like free association, dream analysis and transference. These three things are quite important and significant, but we cannot do something here like that because it is an overview of psychoanalysis. In the video which is basically based on Freud, we would discuss them. Through these techniques, Freud observed patterns and associations at the subconscious level that led him to theorize about the existence of the unconscious mental processes and conflict. It means his experience with his patients who were suffering from certain psychological disorders, he propounded this theory. So both the practical and the theoretical knowledge of Freud was from his patient. And he gave a series of groundbreaking work like Interpretation of Dream. It is quite a famous book by Freud, published in 1899, and the Psychopathology in Everyday Life. Now, this theory of psychoanalysis, as I told you, was established by Freud, but after that a number of other psychoanalysts, with the passage of time, they added their own knowledge to them, and now there is a umbrella theory of psychoanalysis. So there are a few famous psychoanalysts who contributed this theory of psychoanalysis after Freud. So one is Carl Jung. He is a Swiss psychiatrist. He was a colleague of Freud. Initially he worked with him, but later he developed his own theories, and the analytical psychology, collective unconsciousness, archetypes, individuation, these are the concepts which were given by Carl Jung. Another famous psychoanalyst was Anna Freud. She was the daughter of Sigmund Freud, and she further elaborated these principles of psychoanalysis on child psychoanalysis and ego psychology, and she focused her attention on the defense mechanism and child development. Basically, her works are concerned with the childhood disordered, and she worked on child psychology. Yet another psychoanalyst is Wilhelm Reich. He is an Austrian psychoanalyst. He contributed to understanding of the character structure and the role of sexual energy. As I told you, according to Freud, these desires are, we are dominated by these desires. So he talked about the role of sexual energy in psychological functioning, and he developed the different technique like vegetotherapy and character analysis. So this is an overview. If you want to study the separate work of the psychoanalyst, you may study But here I have just told you how they contributed to the theory of psychoanalysis. Now, as a student of literature, you should keep in mind the name of Jacques Lacan. He is a French psychoanalyst and his contribution is also to the theory of psychoanalysis, and it has made a great impact on the study of literature also. So you should keep in mind as a student of literature the name of Jacques Lacan. He reinterpreted Freudian concept through the lens of structural linguistics. So you have heard the name of Ferdinand de Saussure, who gave the concept of sign, signifier and signified, and he propounded the theory of structuralism. So here Jacques Lacan, what he did, he applied or he tried to understand psychoanalysis in light of the structural linguistics. He introduced the ideas like mirror stage, symbolic order and the concept of the real, and it has made a significant impact of psychoanalytical theory and practice. Yet another psychoanalyst is Karen Horney. He is a German-American psychoanalyst. He challenged Freud's emphasis on penis envy, phallic envy and the Oedipus complex, and she proposed her own theories on neurosis, interpersonal relationship and influence of cultural factors on personality development. So you can observe that the psychologists are coming one after another, and they are making certain amendment in the theory given by Freud, or they are giving their own concept, or they are reinterpreting the theory given by Freud. Another is Heinz Kohut. He is an Austrian-American psychoanalyst who had developed self-psychology, which focuses on the formation of the self and the importance of empathic attunement in psychotherapy. He was talking about psychotherapy, that clinical aspect of psychoanalysis. He emphasized the role of mirroring and idealization in the development of the healthy self-esteem. Now the much awaited question, how this theory of psychoanalysis be helpful when we are studying a literary text. So a number of ways are there that through which we can understand that this psychoanalysis is a very good theory to understand a literary text. Number one, our understanding of a character. In literature, we are not studying a human being. In literature, we are studying the characters of a story or a drama or a novel. And here, the understanding of the character becomes deep if we are having the knowledge of psychoanalysis. Psychoanalytic theory provides tools for understanding the complex motivations of the literary characters. So the concept which were given by psychoanalysts, like the study of the unconscious, the defense mechanism, the inner conflicts, we can apply these concepts on the character analysis in our literary text, and we can better understand through this process the behavior, the desires and the relationships of the character. One thing. Another thing is the basically in literary text, symbolism and imagery is used, and psychoanalytic approach helps us to explore this symbolism and imagery, and it makes the understanding deeper. Analysts may interpret symbols and motifs in the text as the manifestation of the unconscious wishes. It means the symbols and images that are used in the text, they are expressive of the unconscious wishes of the character or the author, and it is representative of the fears and desires of the character. So the understanding of the character again gets deeper with the understanding of the symbolism and imagery in the light of psychoanalytic approach. Now as you know, there is a text which is apparent text, but as a student of literature, you know that there is the subtext also. What is not written, we also try to understand it. So with the good understanding of psychoanalysis, we can read the subtext in a very good manner. By it, we can examine the narrative structure, we can easily understand the language choice, why this kind of words or this kind of language has been chosen by the author, or why this character is speaking in that particular manner, what is going on in his unconscious, what are his repressed emotions. These things we can easily understand not only at the thematic level but also at the level of the characters. Then apart from that, we can also understand the intentions of the author. So author's unconscious motivation and intentions can also be understood with the help of psychoanalysis, and in this way we can get the insight into the creative process and we can understand what is going on in the mind of the author. Not only the mind of the author but also in the mind of the reader. So interpreting reader response, psychoanalytic approaches also consider reader's subjective experience and emotion response to a text. For example, a text is given to the different readers, but they have their own interpretation. Why they are having their own interpretation? Because their unconscious minds are having differences. Their desire, their anxiety, their fantasies are different. That is why they are interpreting the literary text in this light. So different meanings of the text can be understood in light of psychoanalysis. Apart from that, psychoanalytic theory offers frameworks for analyzing representation of gender and sexuality in literature. So, through this psychoanalysis, we can easily understand the gender roles, the sexual desires, the power dynamics that is working within that text. So, we can easily understand why this woman is behaving like that, how the gender is gradually being constructed, what things are responsible for these gender roles, why these sexual desires are kept in control by a particular character, and what are its implications, how the behavior of a person has changed because of this repression. So all these things, and what kind of power dynamics there, which kind of hierarchy is there in the society, that can also be understood at the level of psychoanalysis. So a number of meanings can be understood if we are having the techniques propounded by psychoanalysis, and we can understand the text in a best possible manner if we are having this knowledge of psychoanalysis. So psychoanalysis is such a theory which can be helpful or which is helpful in understanding a literary text in a better way. So this is about psychoanalysis, an overview. Definitely this video would be helpful whenever you are trying to understand psychoanalysis. So thanks for your patience listening.